Okay, hello. I am now recording all audio from this conversation, so no swearing or trash talking. But, okay, here's what's going on. I have the results spreadsheet from the Prisoner's Dilemma tournament, and my plan is. Oh my god, there's so many people. My plan is to make a casual results reveal video with no editing, just so that people who participated can figure out what rank they got. In about like a few weeks afterward, I'll make a more polished video with animations and perhaps a clearer analysis of like what this means in the greater scientific world. But that'll be later. Oh my god, there's like 20 people now. But without further ado, I guess I'll go to the results tab and paste the link. Wait, Peter, do you think we're good to go? Oh my god, I'm nervous.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's fine. I think you could even screen share it if you wanted, but I don't know. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna screen share just so that my computer doesn't like do two things at once. But I posted the link in results. Shoot, that means like everyone's gonna zoom in. Okay, so I guess. Oh shoot, there's already a lot of people in the spreadsheet. The results tab at the bottom, which is the second tab, is the entire spreadsheet of what scores people got. Now, I want to make it clear that, I had to disqualify quite a few participants. So 1,615 submissions were entered into that Google form. Unfortunately, about 120 or 140 of them either failed the sanity check or like weren't a Python script. Like some people sent me fan art, which was like a PNG file, and I'm like, that's not gonna run. But so what I did first was I um, essentially ran each strategy individually against the 9 defaults. And if you failed that, then you're just like out of the tournament. Like as in if it crashed or if it took longer than 10 seconds to run. Okay, so I guess everyone can already see that the winner was named Sidewinder7, and their strategy was called Professor X.Pi. Now, they did say that they didn't want to be like publicly known, so I don't want to like put too much information on it. I guess I could go over the general strategy that got them the highest score. In the yellow column, oh yeah, by the way, yeah, feel free to stop me if you have like questions or if I'm doing something wrong. But anyway, the yellow column is each strategy's average score when it's been played against every other strategy at least 30 times. I multiplied it by 100, so like I guess all of you know that if both of you cooperate, you both get 3 points. So if every strategy cooperates with every other strategy, everyone should get 3 points per round. But I multiplied by 100 to 300 just so that it's easier to discern how far apart these scores are. And then the margin of error column, which is to the right of that, basically just says that, based on how many trials I ran and the distribution of the scores on each trial, I'm 95% confident your score was within this plus or minus range, which means the top 3 is pretty much solidified. So congratulations to Sidewinder7, Simon, and Vanderlism. I don't know if you're in this conversation, this voice chat right now. Wait, okay.
Guys, by the way, you're on push to talk, so everyone can talk if you just push to talk.
Oh,
You
right.
have keybinds set up for that. So yeah, I hope I didn't
Yeah.
mess up the terms. If it doesn't work, just let me know in results.
I
Can
seem
we
to be
go?
able to talk, so I think other people should be able to.
Yeah, I
so-
can tell this
yeah.
to talk.
Cool.
Great, cool.
This is Duckboy, Cool, and Alex, I think. Okay, so there's actually a lot of cool stuff to see in the spreadsheet. So, the first thing that I was curious about was in Robert Axelrod's original tournament in 1980, he found that Tit for Tat won both of his tournaments. And he concluded that you can't really beat Tit for Tat. If you try to exploit more, you're just gonna shoot yourself in the foot. If you cooperate more, you're going to be taken advantage of. So what I was curious about was, is tit for tat going to win this time? And if you scroll down, the default strategies are highlighted in green on the spreadsheet, and tit for tat got 70th place. So I think we can confidently say that it is possible to beat it. And it got a score of 2.8, or 280, which basically means that it's about 93% as good as cooperating every time. And yeah, okay, well, the results tab itself is kind of boring because there's just a ton of numbers. But if you go to, okay, I'm going to head to the YOB tab next. This is just year of birth, and I think this was just interesting for demographic reasons. So one of the questions on the spreadsheet was, what year were you born? And I wanted to ask this because I wanted to know, like, you know, if you're 13 versus if you're 30, like, does the amount of programming experience or life experience affect the performance of your strategy? Like, my hope is the older you get, the better your strategies would be on average. But anyway, what's cool about this is I can see that the mean age was 21, or 22, I guess, because the birth year was 1999. The median is 2000, and the interquartile range is 1997 to 2002. Now, I was born in 97, so that means that I am older than 75% of the applicants. But apparently 7 people were born in 2008, so hello, you tweenagers. One person said 2020, but I do not believe that. I think the youngest I believe is probably like 2011 or something. Okay, so the next tab is called Score. And on this tab, I just, you know, it's a histogram of the scores of each strategy. And yeah, Peter noticed this as well. Basically, what you can tell from this histogram is that first place, which got a score of like 3.04, was so much better than second place. There's a bigger gap from first to second than there was from second to like 500th. And this is almost like suspicious to me, because when I ran the code originally, I noticed some strategies would get like 4.9 points. And I figured out like these people are cheating because they were taking the random module and somehow trying to modify or tamper with it, so that like they would do things like random.setState, so that when the opponent called random, it would sort of be deterministic, and then, you know, this strategy could predict what a random number generator would output, and that's just not fair. So if it was like 4.9, I banned it. But as far as I can tell, the strategy that got 3.04, which is Professor X, didn't break any rules. Yeah. Okay. And then the tab after that, which is called Graphs, that's the, like, this is where the interesting stuff is. Like, this is where all the trends that I wanted to find are posted. So if you go to the Graphs tab, the first graph is kind of funny. So on the x-axis, I have the submission time in days since I announced the tournament. So, you know, if you submitted right when I announced it, you would be at 0. And then the y-axis is how many submissions were entered. Disqualified strategies that crashed or something, I couldn't include in this because like it made things confusing. But it's really funny because the main deadline was 7 days after I opened it, and you can see that the rate at which strategies came in like almost asymptotically sped up right until it closed. And then some people submitted afterward, and there was like a whole mess about this, but basically some people asked to resubmit their strategy within 24 hours of it closing, and I sort of figured it wouldn't be fair if I told someone, yeah, you can resubmit your strategy, I'll delete your old one like 2 hours before it actually closed, because then they would delete it and they wouldn't have time, they might be sleeping or something, and they wouldn't have time to like resubmit it. So I gave those people a 24-hour grace period, and that sort of explains the trail off afterward. Oh, and some people had a negative time, and that's because this tournament was announced to like some Discord server before I made my video. I think it's the Jump Cutter server. So those people, that's why there's some people there. Okay, anyway, if you scroll down to the second graph, This one is score rank versus score. And here's where I like start highlighting the defaults, and you can basically see that, you know, a good majority of people scored between like 250 and 280. Because I think if you like use your brain and try to do anything reasonable, you're probably gonna get at least like 240. But it shows that like as you go further and further down, it gets steeper and steeper. And specifically, the person who got last place got last by quite a few points. And I looked at their code, and they're trying to get last. Like I think there was one strategy called anti-detective, which was trying to I don't know, find strategies that would exploit them and then get exploited as quickly as possible. I just realized I'm not sharing my screen, so if I ever wanted to share text, you wouldn't be able to see it. But that's
so about last place strategies, we have a channel dedicated to just finding the worst strategies possible.
Oh really?
Yeah, check last place strats.
Oh, I had no idea. Oh, actually, I wanted to talk about this. So like, I knew this Discord server existed within like a couple days of me announcing the tournament, but like I didn't want to promote it because, you know, like part of the skill of winning this game is like kind of sussing out, I don't want to say the word suss, guessing what the distribution of opponents is going to be. And if people can sort of like congregate and like share strategies, then you get a much clearer picture about that. Oh no, stop with the Among Us is, oh whatever. Okay, wait, did I post my wrong account? Okay, hello. Wait, no, I am on the wrong account. Oh, whatever. I have 2 Discords open, so that's why things are confusing. But yeah, in terms of like getting last place, I think logically the game is symmetrical. So like, in the same way that's very hard to ever average above 3 points, because if you cooperate, you get 3 points. It's very hard to get less than 1 point, because if you both defect, you both get 1 point. Okay, yeah. Okay, so, okay. The third scatter plot and down are the most interesting to me, because these sort of form a cloud of points, and each point is a strategy, which I think is just mind-blowing. So this first one that I'm like shaking around right now, I have on the x-axis the percentage of turns that a strategy cooperated. So if you always defected like always defect, that would be 0. And if you always cooperated, it would be 100. And if you like flip-flop randomly, you're right in the middle. And then the y-axis is the score. So your goal is to get as high as possible on this chart. So what's really cool about this is right away, you can see there's an upward trend, meaning that in general, if you cooperate more, you will reap the rewards of that. But it only extends to a certain point at about like 90%, and like kind of where tit for tat is, right at the corner. If you go any further right to that, you start to enter the territory of being walked over or being exploited, because always cooperate did pretty badly, because you can just defect against it every time and like it will get 0, 0, 0 and you'll get 5, 5, 5. So there's sort of a curve or like a maximal point at about like 90%. And then you can see above it all, there's Professor X at like 304, which defected a lot more. And I try to figure out like, why is this happening and why is it so far ahead? So you won't be able to see this, but I ran Professor X and the other top 3 strategies against the defaults, and I printed the results of the tournament like turn by turn. And okay, let me open it for the OBS watchers. Where are you? Shoot, I don't want to leak my file explorer to the public. Okay, just give me like a second. Okay, so you guys might know about forgiving tit for tat, right? So forgiving tit for tat only defects against you if you defect twice in a row. So basically, if you defect once against forgiving tit for tat, it'll forgive you and cooperate again. Now, if you're paired against forgiving tit for tat, and you are tit for tat or a generally nice strategy, like you'll just both cooperate the whole way and you'll both get 3 points. And that's what second and third place did. But what first place Professor X did was defect every other turn. And because of that, Professor X got 3.995 points on average. I mean, it comes to 4, but there's some like rounding issue, of course. And then Forgiving Tit for Tat goes down from 3 to 1.5, so it was exploited. But I think what this tells me is that, like, you need to start defecting against more strategies to push further ahead. And, like, too many people cluster around tit for tat and were nice. Oh, and then the other thing that I think is really funny is random. Okay, so in the video announcing this, I put the source code of random in the video, and I said you could just submit this and win. But if you did submit random, then you're gonna be like, you're gonna essentially land in the cloud around random strategy. But you can like see kind of I don't know if it's like visible anymore, but kind of like a vertical line that goes right at 50-50. And these are the people who are like essentially doing a coin toss every time, and they did not win. So I'm glad there weren't more of them. I did start like a GitHub thread saying that if there are too many random strategies, then Grim Trigger is going to win, because like if a strategy is random, the best thing you can do against it is just to defect every time. And so I was worried that the Grim Trigger was going to win if there were like thousands of random clones, but it looks like based on this chart there's only like 10 or 15. Okay, so that's interesting. The next graph down, the one I'm shaking now, is, I think it's like even more stark of a trend, but what it is the x-axis is the variation in cooperation rate across different opponents. So what does this mean? Well, it means let's say you, like, if you always defect against strategies, like, that's super predictable, so your variation will be 0. If you're random, every single game you're going to be defecting 50%, so that's, in a way, it's still very predictable. You only have a high variation if you defect a ton against some strategies, but you cooperate a ton against others. And this was essentially supposed to measure how perceptive are you to opponents. So, like, the rightmost points are getting like 50% standard deviation almost, and that basically means that you either defected all the time or you cooperated all the time. And my hope was to show that a winning strategy has to be perceptive. But instead what I got was this curve. It's like really, how do I say it? It's very clearly articulated. Like, I don't even know if there's like a mathematical equation to describe this, but you know, on the right side it's ended by Grim Trigger, which is like one of the most perceptive. I don't even know what the right word to describe it is. But one of the most hot or cold strategies is Grim Trigger, right? Because if you're nice against it, it'll be cooperates all the way down. If you're ever mean against it, it'll be defections all the way down. But like tit for tat lies on this curve as well, and every sort of modification of tit for tat, like Forgiving Tit for Tat or Joss, like kind of pulled it away from this bleeding edge in a way. So I don't know what that says about perceptiveness. But yeah, Professor X is also like way out there, so I don't know what's going on. I think I really need to look at the source code behind that. Yeah. So then the 3 graphs after that don't really have any trends, but I thought there would be. So I wanted to see, is there any correlation between your score and your runtime of your code? Not really. I can't really see anything. What about your lines of code, lines of source code? Not really. Oh, but I do want to point out, Professor X had 700 lines of code. The longest strategy was, what was it? Like 7,000 lines? Wait, 4th place, if you look at the leaderboard, whoever got 4th place, wait, I need to make my face cam smaller so that the people watching on OBS, they can see everything. 4th place, Friendly Lookup by Sammy. took 7,000 milliseconds to run. And like, I set a cutoff of 10 seconds. So this got really close. But I think it's just interesting that like this one strategy like tried to spend as much time. I think they had, what did Sammy have? Shoot, I could look, but that would be like sharing code I shouldn't be sharing. It was some sort of like tree, and the depth of the tree was like how far it's gonna search, and you know, you can set a tree to be deeper, but then it runs longer, but it gets you better results. And they basically said like, oh, if this takes too long to run, then change the tree depth to something smaller and it'll run faster. But then I said, like, I'm not going to change anyone's code. Basically what you gave me is what I'm going to run, because there's so many strategies that like I can't give people like tweaks to improve it. But yeah, there might be a very slight positive correlation in between runtime and performance, but like I don't know, I think I'd have to like finesse the data better. Like even though the x-axis is logarithmic here, like there's still like a ton, like maybe the most, like over half of strategies are just sitting right at 2.0 on the left, which basically means like it's a strategy that didn't do anything intensive, which is what I wanted, honestly. Nothing against the ones that took a long time to run, but yeah, that happened. And then the very last scatter plot at the bottom is wait, do I not have the year one? Oh shoot, I didn't make it year one. Okay, the one at the bottom is what time you submitted, like how many days versus your score, and there's like no correlation as well. One scatter plot I thought I would have, but it's not here, is your year of birth versus your score. But it's not here. So I could try to make it right now, but I don't know if that'll take a long time. But why do I have a folder called detention? Okay, so those are the results. I'm guessing everyone who's in this call right now who entered in strategy has already found themselves like by control Fing. So if you're in the top 1,000, you are amazing. And if your thing crashed, like I just realized, like it could really suck if you wrote a lot of code and then found yourself in the red region. I do want to say that when I ran this, like the full pass code, there were some strategies that did not crash until halfway through a full pass, which means that it survived like 700 rounds and ran fine. But then like maybe it hit a like divide by zero error that only happens like 0.1% of the time. And like basically what I'm saying is I could totally understand it if you wrote your code and thought it would pass everything and work fine, but then it crashed, and I guess that just sucks. And I don't think I'm gonna run any code over again. So like these results are pretty much final, but apologies if you're there. Yeah.
Harry, it's actually crazy looking at the fourth graph down and seeing that like
The fourth graph.
it's such an outlier compared to the rest of the graph.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I think I honestly think it has to do with like being better at figuring out who to exploit. Wait, okay, I was gonna open the source code to some 701. 704. Yeah, the person who wrote the first place one like didn't want it to be public, so I'm trying to respect that, but I know people would also be curious. Okay, 704 is.
Wait, he's not gonna let us code be public?
Well, the thing is, I don't know if I'm technically allowed to release all the source code publicly, because I guess, see, on one hand, this is a public competition, and it feels like, you know, if we're an art competition, you know, I would just show the artwork publicly as like, here's the winner. But I do know that with like source code, like there could be some sort of IP mess where it's like, oh, I don't technically own the rights to these. And I should have made it clear in the like Google form, like, hey, if you submit to this tournament, you are like giving me the right to dispense this code to anyone else. But I just don't know if I'm legally allowed to do that.
On the topic of source code, have you seen the code for the strategy that uses neural networks in order to predict the enemy? It wasn't submitted here, but it exists.
Oh, I got like I think I saw discussion of that. Like I saw at least like 3 comments of people saying like, can I implement an LSTM? And I would always say like you can do it as long as you don't use like machine learning libraries. But did it do well?
Yeah, so check no, Mike, because I posted them.
Oh,
It didn't do that great, but at least it tried.
wait, what channel is it in?
And it took forever to run.
There is a recursive neural network one in place 84.
Place 84.
Or at least that's what it's called.
84. Adam. Wait, is this the Adam that's in the call?
No, different.
No,
Adam.
a different Adam. Okay, recursive neural network.py. I could open it. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm pretty sure it's okay to like show you the top, like the comments at the top describing the method because, like, they wrote those to be read by other people, I assume.
That runtime seems suspiciously low for a neural network, though.
And the lines of code.
Runtime 133. I mean, the average is like 80 or 90. 24 lines of code too. Wait, let me look at this. 627.
You probably could get a neural net in like 24 lines of code if you just had like all the data in one line.
Yeah, because a line of
Just
the
unify
definition.
the entire file.
Yeah, but like who does that?
Okay, so it is a neural network in 24 lines. So okay, I can read you the comment at the top. Actually, I guess it would be better if I like screen shared or like posted a screen share. Okay, you'll just listen. It'll be story time. This strategy, it's misspelled, but it's okay. I forgive you. Uses a recursive neural network to make decisions. The network was trained using a genetic breeding algorithm. You can find the source code for it, the training here, and then there's a link. This network, you know, I'm just going to show this on the screen. Like, who cares about IP? If I go to jail, it was worth it.
Yeah, like what are they gonna do? Go after you for streaming their code in the Discord server?
Oh, but this is going to end up in a YouTube video as well. Oh well.
Oh.
I don't think anyone's going to come after me. Like, I guess I could like ask you guys, you know, if I just shared your code like on the screen, would you be okay with that?
I'll be fine.
That's good
Yeah.
to hear.
Fine with me.
Oh, Peter, you wrote
That's
like
legally sound.
Peter, you wrote like 7 lines of code. Okay, I won't bully you.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was
I
beautiful.
learned Python because of this competition. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm showing. Yeah, I'm showing your code on screen right now. I think no, Peter, your code was good because it was essentially, tit for tat, doubly forgiving tit for tat, and I think like the simple strategies are good because someone has to submit them, right? And I feel like to complete the database, it's good to know, you know, how good would a doubly forgiving tit for tat do, and now we know.
Wait, didn't it like always default if you?
Well, your code, what your code does is, wait. Oh wait, you're right. You're right. Okay, if some of your, oh shoot, you're right. Yeah, your code counts how many times the opponent. Let me screenshot it and then put it in the chat. It counts how many times the opponent defects, and if it's more than 3, then it defects always.
Like, not very good.
Well, I think it makes sense from a like intuitive standpoint. Wait, okay, let me go to the results. I'll just post screenshots of code here. Wait, I guess I could just post the code itself. I'm gonna post the code itself. like when I say like it makes intuitive sense. I feel like every strategy you can explain it using like a real world scenario. So it's like, imagine you're friends with someone and they're like they need money and you're like, okay, I'll lend you $5, and they don't pay you back, and then like a year later they ask for money and then you lend them $5, they don't pay you back. Like once that happens 3 times, then you never lend them money again, and that's sort of like what Peter did.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the philosophy I used for it. I was like, if it works in real life, maybe it's gonna work in this tournament. But nope.
Well, don't say nope. You did wonderfully. You got, what did you get? You got 256, which is like 256 is only like 20 points behind, or it's like 18 points behind second place.
So I'm 18 points behind second place, great. But
there's 800
I'm
other
still
people.
in the bottom 50%.
The answer is not no.
Right?
Oh yeah, I guess you are in the bottom 50%, but I don't want to word it that way.
18 points away from winning, even though you're like full out. Yeah, anyway.
Well, I think it's just that like there's so many strategies that like are reasonable, but they compete with each other. Okay, so I have
A lot of things.
Oh, what's up?
I was just saying I had a lot of faith in Ben's strategy. So I thought he was going to do really well.
Oh, is Ben in the call right now? Hi, Ben.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I think you might have been like one of the
Hello.
very first people
Yeah,
to
no,
submit a strategy.
Yeah, I submitted a test strategy, but I submitted one much later. That was my actual strategy. The
Oh,
first
I
one I
see.
submitted, Peter just told me to,
Yeah, I think
just to
everyone's
test the
done it.
Google form.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember that, and it
My
worked well.
strategy, yeah.
Wait, so
yeah.
Ben, which one is yours? The second one? What is it under?
Mine's is ranked 937. It's under 9503. Didn't do so hot.
I mean, one thing I'm always like cautious of is if I like had an off by 1 error and then like everyone is paired up with like the wrong strategy. But I don't think that happened. But hey, like even the people who are like filling the bottom 25% are like providing data about what the strategy pool will look like if I ever do this again. So it's all helpful. Last place got 117 points, which is like very close to 100. It's okay. It's called it is called Anti-Detective, and it's by 2x2 Piano. Let's see. Okay, I'm opening. Wait, this is the wrong one.
I found the fan art.
I'm kind of curious what would have happened if you put like a reward for the worst place and the best place. Like,
Oh,
I don't know.
I sort of feel like then the bottom of the leaderboard would, theoretically it would just have the same strategies as the top, but everything is flipped. So you could get a Professor X where everything's inverted, and it would win.
But that might actually propel other strategies to the top as well.
Oh yeah.
Just flipping the output didn't really, or, it wasn't a one-to-one sort of thing. It actually, interestingly, it had some,
There's some like asymmetry.
yeah, that's the word.
First step would have to coerce the other person to mess them up. So it's not really symmetrical.
You're right. I guess like it's super not symmetrical if it's a normal player versus a player trying to go for the lowest. Because actually no, I guess that is symmetrical, but they would both just like cooperate and defect, and like they both get the most they want out of that, and they'll just keep doing it. I just noticed at the bottom of the leaderboard, there's 3 minion.pies that have the same, like essentially the same score, and then like 6 crazy fan hammy.pie crazy fan. Okay, I'm guessing these are all the same strategy, but like someone got like 6 accounts. Wait, I'm gonna take a look at these. Crazy fan
Looks like a
goose.
kingmaker
But
strat.
Minion sounds like a pretty suspicious name.
I
Suspicious?
think Minion was probably like they probably were meant
Multiple
my
minion.pies could suggest
Oh.
some kind of corroboration.
Oh, cool. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Like as in they were trying to boost another strategy higher, maybe.
Yeah.
Like these are minions essentially.
Yeah, there's an entire channel for kingmaker strats.
But the problem with those is that Grim triggers and stuff like that always basically win against anything that uses some sort of like secret password of defecting and cooperating to determine if it is that strategy or not. But if you eliminate Grim triggers, then Kingmaker really, they do pretty well.
That only means the minions won't do well. What you could do is you can make a strategy that cooperates unless it gets a password.
Yeah.
And that strategy won't have to worry about that problem. Only the minions will.
No.
Right. Well, I think the fact there's only 3 of them. Wait, let me search if there's any more. But like, I guess technically I should disqualify them because I said it was against the rules. But that would require me to like rerun the matrix and all that, or at least like snip out a horizontal and vertical slice of the matrix. Which there's only 3, but I mean, I guess
do they look suspicious when you look at them?
Well, let me open them. Okay, so 510, 518, and 753. I bet they're gonna be the same, like, because they got the same score. Okay, so they are exactly the same, like character by character. At least as far as I can see. Oh, I'm showing this on the screen. Oh well, I don't. Whatever. Yeah, they're exactly the same, which, like, I wanted to disqualify, but I didn't because, like, if a lot of people submitted random because they honestly thought that was the best, I wanted to keep them all. But they are the same, and they are 89 lines of code. And, okay, there's one variable, it's an array called God Protocol, which is like a string of 5 cooperate and defects. It goes CCCDC, and then Minion Protocol is DDCDC. So those are probably the handshakes, or like the signals that, like, hey, it's me. Like, so the gods and minions can find each other. And like, yeah, I guess.
I'm glad you accepted both of mine. I'm glad that you accepted both of my codes. My first one just crashed.
Oh shoot. Well, I'm glad that the second one didn't then. Are you comfortable with sharing what the second one was?
I don't mind.
This is Tim Kador, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, I'm also the one of the 7 persons who was born in 2008.
Oh my gosh, so you might have the highest score of like everyone your age or younger.
Probably.
Oh,
I'm
shoot.
also Russian.
Oh shoot, yeah, they both went through, but I'm not sure how, because like I did have code to look for duplicates, or not duplicates, but like strategies submitted by the same author, and like you can see a lot of people got disqualified for being called like duplicate under the same author. But yeah, I can see your strategy was copycat detector.
Yeah, it was.
It's weird how like Google Sheets thinks these are all links to websites, but they're not.
Probably because of the .py.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's like I keep thinking like, oh, if I click on them, then it'll show me the actual contents of the file, but those contents only exist on my computer. Yeah, so I guess that's all I have to show you for now. Like, there's a lot more data that I could go through, but I think this covers all of the basics. So if I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Well, I guess one interesting thing I think you can mention is that if you look in Autotest, there was the community repo for the server ran a bunch of tests with about like 150 participants up to, and interestingly, some of those hot strategies in there actually fell a lot. So not all of them were submitted, but for example, yeah, the Psi TFT up here, which was number 2, I fell to like a few hundred. And it was like kind of a similar thing for Diplomat and my strategy in there. They both fell quite a bit in the actual test.
Oh shoot. Wait, which one was it called? Decide? Because I like right now
the Psi TFT number 2.
Oh, Infinity Psi TFT.
It's like
yeah.
2.9. So yeah, a lot of these strategies got like above 2.9, which is like really close to 3. But in my group, nobody got between 2.9 and 3.0. Infinity. Wait. That one doesn't show up when I Google it. Psi TFT.
It got 529th place.
Yeah, I see 529th with only 270. Yeah, that is like a lot lower than like I wouldn't expect things to move around that much just because there's a different opponent pool. Like, you know, it makes me think, you know, maybe I should double check to see if like the code that I'm using to collect these scores is correct. I mean, like, I know that's not entirely wrong because the strategies that tried to do really badly are all in last place. But, like...
Well, the scores on the auto tests, or the tests that we had run on the, you know, the strategies submitted to the GitHub repo, the scores depended pretty heavily on whether or not we included the original strategies that you had, included.
Oh, okay. So
I think the pool can actually affect it quite a bit.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's one of the more interesting things about the iterated prisoner's dilemma is that the environment matters a whole lot.
Yeah. Like, one thing I was talking...
the only strategy that seemed to do... sorry, were you saying something?
Oh, no, you finished. I want to know which strategy did well.
Okay. The only strategy that seemed to do well in both was Da Vinci strategy, actually. Da Vinci Agent, it might have V2 in the file, but it did fairly well in both.
Oh yeah, Da Vinci. I saw that one. Like, I was like, oh, that's a clever pun. That got 8th, so it actually moved up. Yeah, what I was gonna say was, when I was talking about this with my parents, I was like, I pointed out that if the world around you is filled with very cruel strategies, always defect will win. And that's like weird to think about because always defect is one of the worst strategies on this leaderboard. Because it got 7th to last place. So, like, yeah, the pool being different matters a lot. I guess like what I had just thought was like, okay, if the pool, the auto tests pool has like 140 people, that's already like enough to, you know, assume that some of them are really nice, some are cruel, some are smart, some are dumb, to kind of average out all of these weird quirks. And I feel that like the breakdown of those should be similar to the general pool. Although, like...
Yeah, I felt this effect.
Oh, yeah?
Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say that there could be a lot of, like, people submitting very simple strategies to my pool who aren't, like, super invested.
So I felt this effect during my own testing, and I found that my strategy, which is FTFT++, the performance of it differed greatly depending on which opponent and how many of those strategies I competed with.
Right, right. Um, well, did you notice a big change? Like how many competitors were in these like pools that like you tested against?
Uh, Depends really. It could go anywhere from like 100 or something to a couple dozen.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I get
One of the interesting things I noticed when I was testing my strategy is that in my like own personal environment on my computer, where I cloned the public repo, but I also added a bunch of strategies with different degrees of randomness, like 90%, 80%. My strategy did like second place in that, but when I uploaded it to the repo and it ran the auto tests, it was like 30th or something like that. And at that point, there was maybe like 100 or so strategies in the entire pool. So it
okay,
can
so
vary
it
a
can
lot from
vary
my
a lot.
experience.
Yeah, oh that makes sense.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean I think it's actually kind of cool that this auto test existed to let you do things like that. Because it means that like you have that information that like helps explain, this trend we're seeing where people are moving around a lot.
We had a script to simulate the different ratios of opponent types, and every time we ran it against a different ratio, the results changed completely. So
Right, right. Yeah, I'm kind of like blown away by how thorough a lot of like what's going on in the server was. Um, like yeah, I only joined it like an hour ago because I was telling myself like I don't want to see like what's happening there because like I don't want what the players are doing to affect how I construct like the game in case like it somehow biases me or makes me want to like change the rules. Um, but like it's really cool to see now that everything's done and like essentially set in stone like how much you guys tested. Yeah, I guess like the word kingmaker, I think it's like cool that there's even a phrase for that. Yeah. Um, let's see. So I talked about my fear that Grim Trigger was going to win and then it didn't. Like I do wonder if
I don't think that
Oh yeah.
I don't think that pure Grim Trigger could ever win by itself. I think that something based off of it could if there were a sufficient number of randoms.
Right, yeah, yeah. It's all about the randoms. Like I was worried that like even if there's like 1,000 um, excited participants to like code their own smart strategies, there could be like 10,000 little kitties. Nothing wrong with kitties, but like who just copy the code they saw in the video and post it, and like I didn't know what the breakdown was. Um, but like that's how Grim Trigger thrives.
Sorry if I missed it, but do you know how many people submitted just the snippet that you posted in the video?
Oh, I actually didn't check. Although I have like I do have some code that can like find substrings within all strategies, like to see if you used like random tampering or something. So I could like run it right now. The thing is like if it is exactly the same code, it should land very very close on the scatter plots because like it's averaged over so many games. So like it should form a cloud around random.
I'd be interested.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say I would be interested to see if there's some way of breaking down like different like classes of strategies. That would probably be a lot of work though, like random or tit for tat or like detective based. If see what the kind of population that existed in the whole thing was.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
there's probably no easy way of doing that though.
Oh no, actually, I've thought about that, and I think one easy way to immediately categorize strategies is just to see like were you ever the first to defect? Because if you're not, then you could say like okay, you're in the class of non-initiating or maybe gentle strategies, and like I could take the scatter plot and like highlight those, and maybe they form the entire right edge of it. And I think like with like you could detect a detective strategy. I don't know how, but like feeding it like a certain type of input and like seeing how it responds might be an easier way to figure out what category it's in.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I remember that my first code was detective based, but seeing in the chat that there are many Grim Reaper variants to stop the detective types, I decided that I want to remove the elements of the detective type.
Oh, that's interesting. Like the word detective, it sounds like it would be a really good option, but I guess people have decided it's not.
Well, in my opinion, detective types are those who start with first 4 or 5 options always the same. So just grabbing the basic detective, its first 4 moves are always cooperate, cooperate, defect, and cooperate. And
Oh,
then based on the options of the opponent, if it always cooperates, then defect. If at least once defect, then it replicates what the opponent after that does.
oh, I see. Um, yeah, I guess a lot of it was influenced by the fact that like the detective code I had went cooperate, cooperate, defect, cooperate. Um, I mean, I copied
It's
that.
not always. The
Oh.
point is that the first moves are the same always.
Oh, I see. I mean, like I would think that with like when you know that the game is going to be hundreds of turns long, um, you could afford to spend more turns, just like detecting. Um, but yeah, I guess in the end it wasn't worth it. Okay, so right now I'm editing my code to look for that random code that I had in on the screen. Like how many people just copy and pasted that. Oh, the funny thing is that if you actually copy and pasted it, your code would crash because you didn't actually import random. But I'm like, if you wrote that code and didn't even test it, then you don't even deserve to win. Okay, so let's see. I am searching for the string return random dot rand int 0, 1 none. Okay, how many people just did that? It's time to find out. This is under file code.
It'd be interesting to know how many detective likes had some level of randomness thrown in, or at least non-random likes that had non-determinant.
Oh, you mean like if the detective had a random element, or if it like detected a random element?
Yeah. If it had a random element.
Right. Actually, like that reminds me, one of the big factors I wanted to use to speed up runtime was like if I knew two deterministic strategies were like against each other, I would only have to run that game once because it would always be the same every time. But like I didn't know how to detect that besides seeing if it imported random or like numpy.random or time, but it never felt like an exhaustive check, so I never actually used that strategy.
You could have hooked like the actual random functions themselves, something like that, but that might be too much work.
Yeah, but like
Yeah, pretty much.
like what if there's a random strategy, like a random library that I've never heard of? Like,
Yeah, somebody could have written their own like pseudo-random number generator too, for all you
Custom
know.
with that post implementation.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
man.
if it's a pseudo-random number generator, it'd still be deterministic.
yeah, I guess like the main
Just
thing
trying
is,
not to say
yeah, like the main thing would be like it that there's a very clear definition between like, are you going to produce the exact same results every time or not? Okay, so I just posted a screenshot in the results channel, which prints out the, like every time a strategy has the text return random.rand in 0, 1, comma none, it just prints blank is a bad one. Okay, it says bad one because that used to be to detect people who are tampering with random. But anyway, we have about like 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 16. So 16.
Wouldn't it also be possible that those are maybe conditionally returning random though, instead of just being random?
Yeah. So that makes me think that like the true number is even lower. Like it could be like a 3,000 line strategy where that's just anywhere in it.
Yeah, that's surprisingly pretty low though.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
expecting more.
I was too, and I think like looking at the scatter plot, it's really encouraging because like the fact that they're so like spread out and like smeared across the screen, it makes me feel like everyone tried something unique. Which I guess just shows that like the people who watched that announcement video, like you guys like put effort. Like you weren't what's the word, like slackers. Oh, someone says Professor X uses... Oh, actually, let's talk about this. So Professor X does use random. And I want to, like, okay, even though I'm not going to share the source code, I do want to talk about, like, what it has in it. So it actually has 6 of the default strategies as just functions sitting... No, they're actually classes in the Python code. And in the actual strategy... it's trying to figure out like which okay, this is a guess. I think it's trying to figure out which of the 6 defaults the opponent is the most like. And it seems like there's a tree formation going on because they have this class called node, and there's like a tree depth variable of 5. Shoot, if I say too much, I'll essentially be giving away the source code. But the reason it has random is because like it has the raw source code of 6 defaults in it, including random. And I just think, oh, they also have they like devote about 400 lines to re-implementing libraries that, like, because I said you can't use anyone else's libraries, but I think it's allowed to like put in the source code of a library as long as you're not like breaking the rules with like using like random tampering or like accessing my files or accessing the internet.
Copy all of TensorFlow into a single Python file.
I mean, yeah, like that.
I wouldn't imagine that would run great.
It'd be pretty hard given that it's not in Python.
Transpile to Python, easy.
Oh, that's true. I mean, they're all Turing complete, so it's all possible, like, theoretically.
It'd just take forever.
Yeah, probably be one of the longest running strategies if you copy the entire library in Python instead of native C.
Yeah, and actually, like, you know, during the sanity check, I said if you take longer than 10 seconds, you're done. Like, don't. Like, if you think that it takes longer than 10 seconds to have your optimal strategy, well, that's not really so optimal, is it? So, like, there was one strategy that required user input to advance, but, like, I didn't notice it for, like, a minute because I was, like, doing something else. So because of that, like, it got disqualified. But I feel like that's fair. Like, you should make sure it's not asking for input before you submit. Wait, not woo woo says optimal strategy deletes all other strategies so you get all three Oh my god. I'm really glad that no strategy like tried to delete files. Like, you know, during the sanity check,
Carry KH.
Oh, wait, what's up?
Carry here downloading possible malware onto his computer without.
That's legitimately like what I was worried about.
He ran them in a safe environment, right?
Well, no, okay.
Definitely ooh.py that has no.
Okay. So, like, I was fully aware that someone could literally just like upload malware, and then I would run like mysterious Python file, and then it would just do whatever. So, and I also like didn't read through all of them because I thought I was gonna do that, but then when I realized like, oh, 1,600 text files, like if I spend 5 minutes on each one, it'll be like a week straight of checking. So what I did was I created a Docker container, and I ran the sanity checks in there to like just in case they did something really bad. But then once they passed the sanity check, I was like, or they passed 3 sanity checks, then I said, like, it's so much work dealing with this container and like moving files back and forth. So then I just went back to my local computer. And like I'm aware that there could be like a Python script that acts nice when you run it the first time, and then when you run it again, like it could switch. But I like living risky.
Keep state on a remote server. Check how many times it's been run.
You better do better next time if you're going to do this again, though, because now everybody knows this.
Yeah, everyone knows this. I honestly think I got so lucky that like the vast majority of these like 1,000 submissions like were good. Like if PewDiePie or like a huge YouTuber were to do this, like they would get so many bad actors trying to like delete files and all that. Okay, I heard someone mention uwu, so I'm gonna read it. Uwu is... Wait, uwu... How many? Okay, 12 lines. Yeah, it's only 12 lines of code.
Saying that that's where the malware is.
Uwu is not malware. It's really, really short. So, let's see. On the first turn, cooperate. And then they have this like exponentially decreasing random function. And it says, we're more likely to defect the more the opponent has defected and the closer the end of the game is. So I think it's like, it's essentially random, but like the rate of random defections goes up the worse the opponent is and the closer the end of the game is. And then there's a 5% chance of forgiveness. It's pretty low. It's like, if you get in 20 relationships and you cheat on all of them, one of them comes back. Okay, not really. But anyway, 12 lines of code to get 11th place. That's pretty impressive. And I think it's also interesting to have the achievement where every strategy who did better than uwu took more lines than uwu. So like, you could argue that uwu won in terms of efficiency. But it looks like Noel's yeet.py and Mark the Hopeful's ssoj.py lower down like had 10 and 9 lines, which is even more efficient. Okay.
Time to submit a whole file just separated by semicolons.
Wouldn't that just like do nothing in Python?
It acts as like kind of a new statement, so you can compress multiple lines onto one with it.
Oh, I see.
Same as in other languages.
Oh, if you wanted to like artificially,
yeah, so you could probably make any code
like one line.
You could probably make any code one line if you like said that strategy equals lambda of whatever, and then just everything on one line there.
Yeah, and I feel like the fact that like we've been talking about this now means like it could happen if I ever do this again. But like the number of lines of code is like a side stat. Like it's not something that will win you any money. Like I'll never award prize money to uwu because it had so few lines of code.
So to the person who's talking about making up Python one line, there's this great website that does that, and it uses like really weird like list comprehension, like lambda functions and recursion in order to do it. It's really funny.
Well, is there any like usefulness to getting
Check
on one
results. I
line,
posted it there.
or is it just like just a
No, it's just like
really.
sheer novelty.
just novelty? I do think that's like interesting.
You win smallest amount of lines on the challenges.
I think in the future I'll replace this with number of characters, because like that's a better measure of like actual tokens. Oh, but then like people would have like short variable names, so I guess like number of tokens is really the best way.
There's kind of like a whole sub like category of coding, like code golf is what it's called. Where you're just trying to like do a function in as short or as few characters as possible.
Oh, like golf as in like, because in golf you want to get as few strokes as possible. So
Yeah, actually, there's a an interesting site called Twitter, like Twitter with a D on the front, and you get 140 characters to use JavaScript to like draw an image. Basically, it's pretty neat, the kind of stuff that people come up with just a tiny amount of code.
oh, Twitter. I
There's
see.
also a Stack Exchange board for code golf.
For code. Oh, whoa. There's like 100 like little rectangles on this code golf website. Sudoku.
Someone's done raycasting.
Oh my god. So these numbers I assume are like how many characters it took.
But they measured in bytes, so like you have to worry about stuff like which characters take up more bytes sometimes.
Oh, well, if you're using ASCII, wouldn't it all just be the same?
Yeah, but there's like some weird SO lines that use lots of just general UTF-8 stuff or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, there's like code golf specific languages that use like tiny syntax.
oh my god. Wait, Dunkel just noticed that John Doe's XX lit strategy 69XX is one line of code. Let's see it. XX. Wait, how do I? Okay, I don't even remember what it was called. Okay, well.
What a name.
I am going
It's
to.
603. Yep.
Yeah, 603. Yeah, S603. Yeah, on my computer, like I renamed all your strategies to that just S number because like it made it a lot easier to load them. But it's like it dehumanized people because like now I don't get to see. Okay, this isn't a conversation I want to get into. What? Okay, it's a one line of code, but like not even a long line of code. It's just def strategy, return 69 comma none, and then there's a comment saying this is a no snitch zone.
Oh, they tried to break it.
Oh, yeah, there was a time when if you submit...
This was probably before the patch.
Yeah, there was a time when if you submit -2, like, you just win everything. Which is really
Sounds great.
dumb on my part. But, let's see, it got...
Yeah, because it counted you as defecting, but other people thought you were cooperating or something, so you could just...
Like, you could, like,
Yeah.
get the points of a... You get the points of a defection while getting the reputation of a cooperation. Yeah, but that was patched, so it ended up getting 218, which is barely better than always cooperate. It probably is the same as always cooperate, because, like...
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
do the same thing, because it'll be coerced through a Boolean.
Right. So that means, like, essentially, if we look at XX lit strategy 69XX versus always cooperate, we can see how much, like, how different you'll fall on the... Oh, shoot, I'm already thinking my math is wrong, but, like, you know, the same strategy should place essentially the same on the leaderboard within the margin of error, but they're not within the margin of error that I said it was. But they're close, like they're within 0.2 points. It's just I claimed that they're within 0.03. Oh well. I guess what this just means is that for whatever reason the XX one like consistently performed slightly better than always cooperate, which that shouldn't happen. I don't know. Well, there's like a little bit of syntax I don't fully understand with like asterisks in there as well. But if I ever do this again, I'll like hire more people who know Python better.
The last thing that I think would be relevant to this is that you found out that those minion scripts were probably trying to do a kingmaker, but it might also be worth making a head-to-head table. Like there's in the repo there's a thing that makes a head-to-head CSV table, and you might want to look at that and see if there's some strategies that like a top strategy does really well against, but literally nothing else does.
Oh, as in like we could find the king, like if they
so
do
like
really, really well.
if there's some strategies that nothing does well against except one particular strategy, then that would be indicative right there.
Right, yeah. I mean, I still think that like you might end up. Oh, I guess I was trying to think if you are trying to do a kingmaker strategy, does that mean that you're necessarily going to do worse on the other ones? But like you could just play your second best legit strategy, and then the kingmakerness is just a boost. So even though it's like a small boost because there's only like 3 minions, it would still, like, if you were like third, it could push you to first or something.
Yeah, well, for one thing, there could be more minions if somebody just didn't name the minion, and also what you could do is you could also sabotage anybody who's not the king to decrease their point as well as increasing yours.
And that could be like a huge reason why a lot of people perform worse. Like why there's like people consistently got 290s in the auto tests, but no one got 290 here. Well, like the way I think about it with this tournament is that like as long as the top 3 are all legit, because like these people who win the prize money, like I'm okay with there being a kingmaker that's like 30th instead of 80th. And I know that's like not ethical, but I also think like since this is like the first time I'm doing this, like I'll let it slide, and then just these discussions sort of help make it easier to catch them in the future, although it means that they're also going to be more alert to like avoid being caught. But like
I just mean that you could make sure that the top strategies were good, because say that Professor X, for example, I don't think it would be cheating. It seemed like there was legit stuff in there, you said, but it could be trying to covertly do that, and that could be a reason why it would be in first if that were happening. So you probably just want to make sure that that's not happening.
Yeah, well, I think that so the head-to-head is like you get to see kind of every single turn what's happening. Or is it more? Oh no, it's more like
you get to see how each strategy, like how each strategy did against each. So you can just look in a line and see if there's an outlier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then you could like almost graphically just pick out this guy for like clearly just benefiting from a few. Yeah. I think that is. Oh shoot! I just saw fan art of them kissing. Okay, well, whatever. I think like on this server there's fan art between the green and purple woman, which is okay. It doesn't matter. What I wanted to say was that like I also have
icon for a while.
Oh, for real? Hey, you do you.
Yeah, that's why it's in announcements.
Oh shoot! I didn't even notice. Yeah. Anyway, I have some code called Curious. I don't know why I called it Curious, but like it'll let me just like pit one specific strategy against like everyone, and then also a different strategy against everyone. Because like I wanted to see like in order for Professor X to do better than second place by so much, like it must be getting a significantly different result on many different games. So like it helps me, like I do have a way of seeing like what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, you can see whether the advantage is just spread out, like the strategies generally did better, or if it did about the same or worse mostly, but there were a few that it did way better, like 4 points better.
Oh yeah, 4 points, because yeah, like the difference of being in the club or out of the club is like defect, or cooperate.
I found out that only 3 out of 7 codes from people from 2008 actually worked, and my code is actually the last from the working ones.
Oh, well, that is an achievement in and of itself. Wait. I try to hide people's birth years though. Like oh I like
I looked up into this old leaderboard.
wait, how did you find it? Um
It looks like it's an outdated leaderboard they're probably talking
Oh,
about. You
no.
can corroborate
Okay.
the name. Yeah,
That
so you should probably
yeah,
hide
I'm gonna
that.
delete that. I mean, I guess like you guys already saw it, but like oh, why can't I delete it? Oh, because I'm not logged in. Okay, I'll log in with my other account and delete it. Well, I mean, like I'm not worried about you knowing, like Tim Cador, like you can know that, but like I do think it would be weird for some people if they thought like, oh, I'm just submitting my birth year, just so Carrie knows, and then suddenly the entire world knew. That would be weird. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going here, and then I'm gonna delete that. I also realized that with the scatter plots, like because of the coloring of the dots, you could like try to find what coordinates correspond to which dot, and then like figure out that way when people were born. But it's like there's so many dots, and like it's so hard to find out that I think it's okay. And okay, I'm deleting the outdated leaderboard. That was never okay. See, what happened with that was I had like my class project, like this is for a class in college, and it like the final paper was due on June 2nd, and I was like, it's currently June 1st, and I haven't even run my code once, like, and I realized I didn't have enough time left before the due date to like do a full pass run, so like I actually like stayed up late with a classmate grading code that would like have every strategy played against like 100 other strategies, so it didn't do the full matrix, which gave like a kind of good enough ballpark. And different strategies won, of course, but that's why it's outdated, because now I have something that's like better. Yeah, cool. And then I guess like one last thing I'll do before I end the video is I will sort the leaderboard by the author's username and then scroll down the whole thing, so that if you're watching it only on the video, you can find it. Okay, data. Wait, hold up.
Wait, Carrie, are you uploading this whole thing as a video? The whole like interaction we just had?
Oh yeah, actually I guess I should have made that clear. Like, if anyone's like not cool with that, I can like edit out your voice, I suppose. Or I could just like cut it off when I stopped talking, and then like it became more of a conversation.
I'm cool with that.
I mean, I'm
cool
fine
with
with-
having my voice on.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
same.
shoot, I did not mean to do that. Okay, that's
I mean,
good.
if there's nobody who particularly objects to having their voice in, then you might as well leave the conversation, because there were some important parts in there.
Yeah, something happened. Oh wait, is it back? Okay, it's back. Yeah, it sounds like most people are okay with it, and like, even if I upload it and then someone has a problem, I can always like use a YouTube editor to take their voice out. Yeah, I clicked sort.
I think all the people who
Oh yeah. Author.
So I think all the people who like weren't comfortable with talking just used no mic chat instead. So I think we're all good.
Oh right, that's true. Wait, why does that
cool
keep
if you
happening? Yeah, so I think it's okay. And let's see. Okay, so wait, that is not sorted by author. What is it sorting by? None.
It looks like you're on ID right now. Like you're selected on that.
Oh, you're right. But I selected name, strategy name, author. Okay, sort. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll slowly through this. So I'll probably post a timestamp in the video description saying, if you just want to know how you did, go to this timestamp. So we're looking at the This is above the A's. If your username started with a number, you're here. And then here we have the A's. So this goes on to AIM. More A's. Alligator Joe. But this is going to take a while. I'm going to scroll faster. I'm worried because if I scroll too fast, then like the video compression will like mess up all the numbers. So I'm going to hold it like for a second. Now we're on the B's. Oh. Ooh. Someone has a username with a lot of diacritics. Okay. We're almost at the end of the B's. This is where I would be if I submitted something. Wait, someone used my name. Someone under the name carykh submitted permanentchoice.py and got 1,442nd place.
Carrie's just embarrassed of how badly he did.
No, that's not mine. Wait, it's 10 lines of code.
You know, there's also a
Somebody else
strategy
said-
called carykh made a victory.
If carykh won, that would be super
Okay, that's
suspicious.
pretty good.
Okay, we're at the CH's. Oh, I wanted to see if there's like any if any famous YouTubers participated, but I don't think there were any.
I think Automated
Jabrils participate.
asked some questions.
Oh shoot! Sorry.
Did
if I missed
Jabrils
it.
actually submit one?
Yeah.
I'm gonna find out soon because when I hit the J's, I'll see. I know he's busy. Like,
Well, I mean, we also don't know if it's Jabrils or, Jabrils in quotation marks.
yeah, it could be like a different username. Wait, this person has. Oh shoot! I shouldn't highlight it. I was just gonna say I saw someone who has the same name as someone I went to college with, so I don't know if it is them. Oh my gosh, this is kind of cool. There's 4 people who submitted named Ethan. They are the Ethan crew. Okay. Okay. So now we're at the F's. Let's go a little faster. Because this is supposed to be like an index. It's not supposed to be commentary based. Gregory Campbell. Harrison. I saw someone inhale. That's not allowed. Hiron.
Good night, Carrie. I don't think I can stay up any later.
Oh, good night, Peter. Yeah, thanks for organizing this.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
Yeah. It was fun. Bye.
Bye. Okay, cool. Okay, there's no one named Jabrils submitted, but it could be under another name. Okay. So I'm halfway through now. I'm at the J's. 2 people named Jonathan Lee. Or maybe someone submitted twice. Okay, I'm going to go faster. Now we're at L. I might just link this spreadsheet to the YouTube video because, like, since it's already visible to you guys and there's like 20 of you, I might as well. Okay, I just passed none, so those are all the default strategies had an author of none. Oh, there's Fizzy. Fizzy created my TWOW intro. Okay, I guess this is my first time scrolling through the entire leaderboard. So if there's like something crazy, this would be my first time seeing it. Okay, S. Ooh. Come on. Takatanen. Okay, now we're at T. Lots of Toms. U. Okay, that means we're close to the bottom because like V or these last letters don't have that many. X, Y, Z. Okay, awesome. Now everything has shown up at some point. Okay, cool. Well, I guess I'll wrap up the video now. So if you have any thoughts, final thoughts, you can let me know now.
Yeah, I want to call that phone number that ADR posted.
ADR?
That was from Smau.
Yeah, check the no mic chat. Somebody named their file Handsome Programmer is looking for smart and pretty girls to date. Called me 248-434-5508.
I'm gonna check that off stream.
Hold on.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Well, okay, I'm not gonna call it. I'll call it on the live stream. No, that would be weird.
I'm doing it right now just because.
Oh my gosh.
This doesn't really need to be in the video, but what Da Vinci said, you could post the matrix so that we can look at it ourselves and we could see about those Kingmaker strats.
Oh, right.
It goes through a Rickroll!
Oh, it's a Rickroll? Oh, I can hear it. Oh my god. Wait, the fact that I can pick it up, yeah. Wait, that means we got Rickrolled too.
That's so good.
It's contagious. That's good. Oh my god. Oh shoot, I forgot someone's sleeping.
I just got Rickroll. I can't believe it.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us.
It's a good way to end the video.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, also,
I mean, the VC is named Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh, it is. Oh my god, I got Rickrolled twice. Guys, you gotta stop this.
Oh yeah, the other Smau strat, by the way, it's howdy. I would like to use this medium to tell you about Activision suing a small indie game called Warzone.
What is happening?
Smau submitted interesting file names.
Oh, I see. Oh, they're file names. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, someone was mentioning the, like, ways to detect the Kingmaker and all that. I just want to let you guys know that I have saved the entire, like, like a full matrix is like 1400 by 1400, and like I did 30 full pass runs, so I have 30 NumPy files that have the entire matrix. So like I wouldn't even have to run anything else. I could just like look at those and find suspicious Kingmaker activity if I wanted to. So that means it should be easy.
Yeah, Da Vinci was just saying that you could also show us the matrix so that we could look at it.
Yeah, I'm willing to upload the matrix. I think... Oh, can someone pin this? I think, like, I'm cool with sharing everything that I have on my computer besides the source codes themselves. So, like, that's totally allowed. I guess I can upload to a Google Drive right now. But I'll do that after the video is done being recorded. Let me undo the sorting. Let's Control Z.
Are you planning on asking the top strategies if they're okay with releasing their source code?
Yeah,
or have you done that already? Or because I'd be interested to see like the top 5 or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna send them emails, of course, and I will ask them like, "Are you cool with me sharing the source code?" And everyone who says yes, I'll just share it. And like, in case I haven't already said it, if I do this type of tournament ever again, within the submission form, I would already have like a question just saying, "Are you cool with me sharing this source code publicly?" Because I'm sure 90% of people would say yes, and like it would be really easy to just satiate people's curiosity that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. For this tournament, if you want to see like some open source strategies, the Prisoner's Dilemma Enjoyers repo has a lot of interesting strategies there.
Oh yeah. People could look there.
Wait, it's called.
I know I submitted my strategy too.
Enjoyers.
Yeah. The GitHub for this Discord server.
That's funny. It's like, it's like a machine, and its role is to enjoy things. Why can I not? I sorted this by rank, but it's doing it like alphabetically. How do I not do that? Rank. This is. If that number sign wasn't there, then it would all be solved. I'll just Control Z, honestly. Why can't I control? I can't undo.
You should just be able to remove the filter and then it'll be by rank because that's what it is by default.
Oh shoot, you're right. You're right. I actually didn't know that. So I guess that's something with Google Sheets I just learned. Okay, I'm gonna end the recording. So if you're watching the OBS recording, we'll hear the results. And thanks for watching, and thanks for participating in this Prisoner's Dilemma tournament. Oh shoot, I almost forgot to show the camera. I bought this. Ooh, look at that. People in voice chat probably feel confused. Oh my god.
Yeah, I do.
Fancy. Okay. I'm holding the physical book called The Evolution of Cooperation by Robert Axelrod. And it's like 200 pages just talking about like why tit for tat is good. And
You should send it to the winners.
I honestly, like, that might be a good idea. Like, I wanted to read this because it sort of felt like there's a lot of history about these sort of tournaments that only exists in this book. So, yeah, I have it. I'll read it. And thanks for watching this, like, hour-long YouTube video. I will see you all later. Bye!